Tonight, another spring snowstorm hammers Saskatchewan. The Riders release a receiver for breaking their code of conduct. And an NDP bill on improving rural ER closure notifications gets full support.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. It was a rude awakening for southern Saskatchewan today. Another spring storm bringing with it tons of snow and freezing rain, reminding drivers winter conditions are not done quite yet. Donovan Mace shows us the details.
It's a bad day to be a scooter on the streets of Regina as a mid-April storm brings a large dump of snow to the province.
We tend to get our biggest snowfalls in the spring and in the fall.
And with a temperature swing of more than 20 degrees from Wednesday to Thursday, road conditions treacherous at best.
When the temperatures finally drop to below freezing, and then the freezing rain comes, and then you get some snow on top of it, you get some wind blowing across those wet roads, they freeze up and they turn into skating rinks.
Here we are again dealing with those winter driving conditions.
As drivers are reminded, they aren't out of the woods of winter just yet.
Even though it is April, we still have to keep those driving habits when it comes to winter driving habits in mind, slowing down, increasing that following distance, and just looking out for each other on the road.
Across the province, police busy responding to collisions. RCMP saying at least a dozen weather-related collisions were reported during the storm. It also prompted the closure of some highways like Highway 11 north of Regina and Highway 19 near Central Butte, stretching the need for winter tires just a little longer.
We do encourage people to get those winter tires on early and keep them on late in situations like this.
My neighbors watch to see when I take my snow tires off. For me, I would want that extra protection of having those snow tires on.
Environment Canada says holding off from swapping out those snow tires may not be a bad idea, as this spring has been cooler than the past couple of years, so precipitation in the form of snow may be more likely than rain for a little while longer. Donovan May, CTV News, Regina.
All right, Sabine joins us now for our first look at weather. So that's what we saw today in the morning and in the afternoon. What are we expecting as we head into nighttime, Sabine?
Well, I just said my job's done. Donovan did a great job. He can fill in for weather now because he said exactly what I was going to say. We did deal with that snowfall for most of the day today, Lee, and that's going to continue as we head into this evening before we start to see that system clear out later in the day tomorrow out of the parkland. So we'll probably still see some snowfall first thing in the morning for parts like Regina and other parts of southern Saskatchewan, and those temperatures unfortunately not at the average. We're usually at about plus 11. Today we warmed up to -4, and that trend will continue heading into tomorrow. But the warm up is on the way, and that means scooter weather is right around the corner for now, because there is a slight chance some precipitation in the form of snow may still be lingering. But I'll have more details coming up in your full forecast. Lee?
All right, thanks, Sabine. Well, in light of new allegations, a player once considered a fan favorite will not be returning to the Saskatchewan Roughriders this season. Wide receiver Ajo was cut by the team today shortly after he was suspended for violating the CFL's gender-based violence and harassment policy. Jacob Carr has more.
The football future of Canadian receiver Ajo is unknown after being released by the Riders for breaking their code of conduct. An investigation by the CFL stemming from multiple allegations against Ajo in late January revealed that on November 18th of last year, Ajo, quote, engaged in aggressive and unwelcome physical contact with multiple women at a restaurant in Regina. The CFL has also suspended him for 2026's preseason games, a minimum of 6 other games, along with several conditions to be reinstated to play.
We hold our players to a high standard. We don't tolerate gender-based violence. Our players and our staff are required to complete education for gender-based violence and harassment every single year.
The local YWCA, who have been working collaboratively with the Riders to eliminate gender-based violence, says they were impressed with the immediate response by the football club.
They have a responsibility as an organization that has a lot of influence to stand behind and make decisions to ensure that it's not something that's tolerated in our community.
The Riders say an incident like this does not reflect the family culture they are trying to build and maintain from the top down.
It's important that we're all kind of in lockstep, and that everyone knows that, we're going to support each other, but we also, we got to hold each other accountable. So, hopefully that is a message that the players receive, and it's just disappointing.
The team making it crystal clear that gender-based violence will not be tolerated in their organization. When asked if there was a chance for a reconciliation with Joe if he met the criteria for CFL reinstatement, O'Day said not with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
A former Saskatoon police officer has pleaded guilty to assaulting a junior colleague at an off-duty gathering. Former Constable Dylan Kemp was charged with assault following a backyard party at his home in September 2024. Court heard that at one point, Kemp put his hand over the throat of a junior female officer and asked if she liked it. The officer pushed him away and a physical altercation followed. He later approached her again and during another physical altercation, struck her in the nose. The Saskatchewan Serious Incident Response Team was called to investigate and lay charges October of 2025. The judge has accepted a joint submission from the Crown and Defence and gave Kemp a 12-month conditional discharge that will leave him without a criminal record if he completes probation.
I think generally the public would see this individual as someone who probably didn't get the support he needed, who's probably back to work too quickly. He was subjected to a number of very traumatic events.
At the end of the hearing, Kemp said he wanted to apologize to the officer and said he will continue to advocate for mental health. And just days after Regina police released dramatic video of a vehicle arson in East Regina, another vehicle has been damaged. Jill Lanigan sending in these photos that she took early this morning in the creeks. She says she heard a loud bang just before 2 a.m. and first thought it was a car accident, but looked out and saw flames shooting out of a truck, followed by loud explosions. She says 911 and the fire department were called. Regina police confirming they are investigating the fire as an arson and at this point are unable to say whether or not the two incidents are connected. Rural residents could soon have access to real-time information about emergency room closures. Last year, the Saskatchewan NDP presented legislation to make it possible, and today, the government voiced tentative support for the proposal. Wayne Mantika has the latest.
Those in favor of the motion, please stand.
It's not often that government and opposition members stand together in support of an NDP proposal.
We saw my bill, Bill 606, pass second reading today, passed a major hurdle in terms of getting this into law. There's a couple more votes that need to happen, but really pleased to see government stand and vote in favor of this bill.
A website proposed by the NDP would provide up-to-the-minute information about rural emergency room closures. It would work a little like the highway hotline.
In an emergency, minutes matter, and someone's life could be on the line, whether they go to the wrong hospital. If it's closed, they're going to have to turn around and head somewhere else.
Currently, emergency room closure information is updated once daily. The government believes real-time data is a good idea.
When the NDP's bill came forward, we looked at it and said, we're already doing much of this work and moving in that direction. And so, again, an opportunity to take a bit of the politics out of healthcare and maybe work together.
The legislation will now go before a committee of all MLAs for clause-by-clause study. There could be amendments along the way, but there appears to be a desire from both sides of the House for timely emergency room information. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
The recruitment pitch for more doctors continues across the country, including here in Saskatchewan. Damian Smith has an update on where recruiters are targeting.
Saskatchewan continues to look for physicians internationally.
Try and promote our quality of life and certainly our cost of living, which is much more attractive in Saskatchewan than it is in other jurisdictions across Canada. And we also promote our team-based care and the fact it's very easy to meet people in this province and build relationships really quickly.
The Saskatchewan Health Recruitment Agency says they are targeting countries like the UK, Ireland, and the United States. Other ones include Australia, New Zealand, and Singapore.
Everybody is trying to attract the same small number of physicians that, can be licensed in their country.
You need to be licensed by the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Saskatchewan. We try to target first those countries where we have the simplest licensing pathways.
Physicians say that family medicine is the area of practice in need of most recruitment, as many doctors opt for other specializations.
They can be whatever they want. They can be surgeons, they they can be internists, they can be pathologists. We have to make sure that they see family medicine as a really good option for them.
Physicians also hope administrative burden can be improved, which is largely paperwork after a patient visits.
The only thing patients see is the work we do with them in the exam room. After they leave, I don't think they realize what happens behind the scenes. And basically, for every hour that we spend in the exam room with patients, there's about an hour of administrative work associated.
While physicians continue to work a busy schedule, the Saskatchewan Medical Association offers several programs for well-being and mental health and other supports for doctors. Damien Smith, CTV News, Regina.
1 year after the Regina Breast Health Centre became operational, the province is touting the facility's success. According to the Ministry of Health, this past year has seen patients receive faster, more seamless care. The centre received 1,780 referrals in need for advanced diagnostics and treatment services.
Not being a medical professional, the hospital is a scary place. Like, it can be overwhelming going to the hospital for treatment, and I know sometimes we have to go to the hospital, but being able to come to a place that is more of a sense, has more of a sense of community and connection is really something that's important, and I think it plays a role in our recovery.
The government of Saskatchewan invested $8.5 million to open the centre, with $6.5 million in renovations and $2 million in operational costs. Saskatchewan had the highest hospitalization rates for among the provinces for vaccine-preventable illness in 2024. As according to new data from the Canadian Institute of Health Information, it shows Saskatchewan had 199 hospitalizations per 100,000 people compared to the national average of 142 per 100,000. Only the Yukon and Northwest Territories had higher rates. The report says delayed diagnosis and less access to preventative care methods in rural and remote areas could be factors. Vaccine-preventable respiratory illnesses surveyed in the report included COVID-19, the flu, pneumonia, and several other diseases. Sask Power has signed an agreement with an Ontario-based power company on large reactor nuclear technology. Bruce Power is Canada's only private sector nuclear power operator, which produces 30% of Ontario's power yearly. Sask Power said the deal will allow them to explore large reactor technology in addition to small modular reactors. It will also allow Sask Power to see the approval and development process play out for the Bruce C project, a proposed expansion of the company's existing reactor site in Ontario.
Having this partner, very long-standing Canadian nuclear operator here, is going to be really very helpful for Sask Power in that technical evaluation component, having been in that space for literally decades and having been a nuclear operator for decades.
Now, a decision on the project in Ontario is expected by the end of the year. As more countries like Australia and Greece explore and implement social media bans for youth under the age of 16, Ottawa is taking a closer look at doing the same in Canada. Sierra D'Souza-Butt says more on what the ban could potentially look like for young Canadians, specifically here in Saskatchewan.
At Canada's Liberal Party convention, members passed a non-binding resolution calling on the Canadian government to set a minimum age of 16 for access to social media accounts. But how effective would that legislation be?
An individual parent, you can sort of police it, but it's a lot easier when it becomes a rule and everyone has to put them away.
On social media, Premier Scott Moe brought up a similar ban in March. On Wednesday, he says the provincial government's next step is to get the opinion of Saskatchewan families.
What are Saskatchewan parents thinking in this space? What are their thoughts with respect to, should there be parental limitations? Should there be actual limitations, age-based limitations on social media? And I really don't know the answer.
Adding, the government will be sending out mail deliveries asking parents for their feedback.
What we would then do is provide that information in a very transparent way to the federal government. We feel if there is going to be any action in this space, it should be national action done by the federal government.
If the legislation does become reality, one U of R professor who specializes in the role of social media in conflict says the national policy can have a positive impact for kids in the classroom and at home.
The point here is that this is not trying to sort of catch every kid. The point is that we are changing the way we as society understand the risk of those platforms for our children.
However, McQuinn adds the ban may also have negative impacts.
There are children and kids for whom their online communities are a real source of support. I think that's the challenge, is where parents and communities need to work with the government and the legislation to ensure that we can find some of those nuances.
Although not legislation yet, the federal government plans to introduce a nationwide online harms bill. Details on when that will happen are unclear. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Regina.
And a date has been set for the funeral of a former Saskatchewan Lieutenant Governor. Vaughn Solomon Schofield died just over a week ago after a short illness at the age of 82. She was Saskatchewan's 21st Lieutenant Governor, in addition to a list of other accomplishments, and is set to have a public funeral Saturday, April 25th at Living Hope Alliance Church in Regina. Those attending are asked to arrive early for the 10 a.m. start. Books of condolence remain available at the Legislature and Government House, and flags will remain at half-mast until sunset on the 25th. Still ahead, Canada Post begins the process of ending door-to-door delivery. Plus, Canadian Jeremy Hansen and the Artemis II astronauts share stories on their historic mission. The process of phasing out door-to-door mail delivery has formally begun at Canada Post. Preliminary work has started to convert about 4 million addresses to community mailboxes. The work is expected to take about 5 years, with different regions transitioning to community mailboxes each year. The Crown Corporation also says it's reviewing its retail network in preparation for closures of some post offices in areas that are currently overserved. In the Middle East, a 10-day ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon has begun. The temporary truce was announced by U.S. President Donald Trump after he had conversations with the leaders of both countries.
Actually, it's very exciting because it's 48 years. We're going to be meeting with Bibi Netanyahu, as you know, and the president of Lebanon. And I had a great talk with both of them today. They're going to be having a ceasefire, and that'll include Hezbollah.
The U.S. president plans to invite Lebanon's president and the Israeli prime minister to a meeting at the White House that would take place over the next week or two. He has also directed his vice president, secretary of state, and chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff to work with both countries to achieve lasting peace. Israel has not been fighting with Lebanon itself, but with Hezbollah that are inside Lebanon. The Iranian-backed militant group says any ceasefire must cover all Lebanese territory and not allow the Israeli military any freedom of movement. In Ukraine, at least 16 people were killed in a Russian barrage that stretched from daytime into the night. Nearly 700 drones and dozens of ballistic and cruise missiles were fired primarily at civilian areas, injuring more than 100 people as well. It was the biggest aerial attack in almost 2 weeks. Ukraine's foreign minister called the attack war crimes that must be stopped and their perpetrators held to account. The United Nations says more than 15,000 Ukrainian civilians have died in strikes during the war. Today, Russia said 2 people were killed in Ukrainian attacks on a Black Sea port. An ICE agent who was part of an immigration crackdown in Minneapolis earlier this year has been charged with assault.
Mr. Morgan's conduct was extremely dangerous. Driving while pointing a weapon out of your moving vehicle at the victims who were in another moving vehicle could have led to yet another disastrous incident in a community that has already suffered too many.
Prosecutors say the accused was also driving on the shoulder of the highway illegally. This is the first case of a federal immigration agent facing state charges relating to the weeks-long operation in Minneapolis. 2 people were fatally shot by ICE agents when thousands of officers flooded the streets and clashed with protesters. Almost a week after returning to Earth, the 4 Artemis II astronauts are sharing their thoughts on the mission, life in the capsule, and what's next. Heather Wright has more.
They traveled more than 400,000 kilometers to the far side of the moon and back. Commander Reed Wiseman says the crew launched as friends and returned as best friends.
We are bonded forever. I mean, that's the closest 4 humans can be and not be a family.
For 10 days, the Artemis II crew captured the hearts and imagination of the world, going further and faster into space than any human has gone and seeing the moon and the world from brand new perspectives.
We're all kind of struck by these things that make us feel small, and that the sense I had was the sense of
of fragility and feeling small, infinitesimally small, but yet this very powerful feeling as a human being, like as a group.
Speaking to reporters from the Johnson Space Center this afternoon, the crew says while they had an idea of the attention their mission was getting, they initially didn't know the extent of it until talking to their families back on Earth.
When my husband looked me in the eye on that video call and said, "No, really, you've made a difference," it brought tears to my eyes, and I said, that's all we ever wanted.
Canadian astronaut Jeremy Hansen hopes this mission inspires the next generation of astronauts to dream big and says it underscores the importance of working together.
Don't do it alone, and share what you're trying to accomplish with others, because you need the support of others to do big things. And so share your goals, be brave enough to share them, and then you'll be surprised how people surround you and lift you up to accomplish them.
Asked how optimistic they are that humans could soon have a permanent presence on the moon, Commander Wiseman said not only is it doable, but doable soon. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
Coming up, meet the Regina canine that dropped herself off at a doggy daycare.
The Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League Championship is set. It's the Flin Flon Bombers taking on the Yorkton Terriers. In the morning, we're taking a look at the journey of those Terriers.
All right, welcome back. Let's take a look at your forecast as we prepare for, well, the snow just continues. So It'll clear out. We're going to see it clear out eventually. Now, where the snow system that's lingering around is still going to stay in Saskatchewan, bringing snow in many parts of southern Saskatchewan and central Saskatchewan overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. Currently, we're sitting at -9 for the Regina area with a wind chill of about -14. Wind sitting just under 10 kilometers an hour. And this is what we have seen over the last couple of hours on the radar satellite. So most of that snow, we're still seeing actually some snowfall warnings under this blanket of snow around the Saskatoon area. All the warnings that we did see earlier and yesterday have lifted. Now it's just under the Saskatoon area that we're starting to see as that system continues to make its way out of the province. I'll get out of the way and show you how this system is going to be moving heading into this evening. So still expecting snow. Maple Creek could see some light snow there as well tonight. And as we head into tomorrow, by tomorrow morning, still expecting to see some light snowfall in parts of southern Saskatchewan. And the tail end of that system won't be clearing out until later in the day. We can see the Parkland will be getting the last of it late in the afternoon there as it continues to make its way into Manitoba. But by the time we end Friday and get set to start the weekend, we'll see clear conditions, more sunshine, and those temperatures gradually starting to warm back up, eventually getting back into that seasonal range. Tomorrow is another below seasonal, below zero day for many parts of southern Saskatchewan. And I'll show you exactly what that's looking like for your 7-day forecast. Actually, we'll take a look right after our snowfall totals here. So between now into tomorrow, this is what we're looking at for snowfall totals. So the good news is that it does seem like the system is weakening as we're heading into the overnight. Much less snowfall expected for the Kindersley area. Earlier, it was looking like we could be seeing into the double digits there. In Saskatoon, up to about 8 centimeters by tomorrow morning. So still expecting quite a bit of snow as this system is moving through. And by the time we get into Saturday morning, again, the tail end of that system is by Friday afternoon. Yorkton could see another couple centimeters, Hudson Bay up to 7 centimeters. And again, trace amounts for most of southern Saskatchewan by then. And I'll just keep going through this map, even though there's really no snow expected on Saturday and Sunday. Temperatures gradually warming up above zero for parts of the north. 3 degrees for the Losh, 4 for Lloydminster, 1 for L'Orange, 1 for Prince Albert. And again, also expecting to see more sunshine. Yorkton, however, still expecting to see some of that snow tomorrow, especially during the day. -6 is the expected high, -2 for Saskatoon, +3 for North Battleford, and +4 for Maple Creek. But Swift Current seeing a high of -2, -3 for Moose Jaw, and over in the southeast, similar temperatures, -2 for Estevan, and Weyburn, Assiniboia expecting a daytime high of -3, with Regina also expecting a daytime high of -3. Tonight, much cooler than what our average low usually is, about -1 or -2. Tonight we'll be at -11 with the winds up to 25 kilometers an hour. And what's to come? Well, some really good news and a lot of sunshine. So again, tomorrow is the only day in the next 7 days we're going to see that below zero temperature. -3, mostly cloudy. By Saturday, warming to +2 with a mix of sun and cloud. 5 degrees on Sunday, nothing but sunshine there. And as we start, I believe this is, no, it's not the last week of April. It's almost there. Heading into a new work week. Monday, sunny and 14 degrees. 22 is the expected daytime high by Tuesday with nothing but sunshine. Another 20-degree day by Wednesday as well, as of right now. +21, but we will see the wind starting to pick up heading into Wednesday and Thursday. Winds gusting up to 60 kilometers an hour on Wednesday and on Thursday. And Thursday, we will see the temperature drop just slightly up to 15 degrees, but that's still more than what the daytime high usually is, about +11 degrees, Lee. So we're going to see those temperatures getting quite warm quite quickly after this snow clears.
Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, you can break out the shorts.
You sure can.
Yeah.
And maybe go golfing.
I don't know how the courses are going to be.
Okay, maybe not. Never
on
mind.
that day, but you can dream about it.
It's almost there. Golfing season's almost there.
Thanks, Sabine. Well, for those of us who follow a daily routine, any disruption to it can throw you for a bit of a loop. And it's not just humans, it's dogs as well. As Mick Favel tells us, after not going to doggy daycare like she usually does, a canine from Regina decided to take matters into her own paws.
Missy is a 5-year-old husky who has been coming to Spot's place for nearly her entire life. On a day when she was scheduled to be elsewhere, Missy surprised everyone at the dog daycare by making her way over unsupervised.
I looked up on our security cameras that are in front of my desk, and I saw this dog running around in the parking lot. I'm like, oh my God, there's a dog out there. It's Missy. So we let Missy in. Yeah. Biggest smile on her face. She was so proud of herself, so happy to be here.
Monday to Friday, Missy and her owner make the 7-minute bike ride to Spot's place. According to the daycare, Missy was in her backyard when she made her way out through under the fence. Her daily routine of traveling there and back is likely what got her to the facility safely.
Rain or shine, like I'm not even kidding, it will be -30. They're biking.
It is snowing out and he is still biking with Missy here. So,
yeah. So they take the same route. She's very familiar with it, so it's just like really second nature to her.
Missy's owner was shocked when she got the call, learning her furry friend had escaped, especially since Spot's place is located in a strip mall off a busy stretch of road on Victoria Avenue East.
It's just miraculous that, nothing happened and it wasn't, it was as positive of a situation as you could have it, right? I certainly don't condone dogs escaping yards and going out on, journeys by themselves, but we're just thankful.
Spot's place is a daycare just for dogs. It's a place where they can be trained and groomed and is a home away from home. Depending on the day, they see upwards of 100 pets passing through with a never-ending stream of stories about dogs being dogs. But what Missy did is a first for them.
dogs get out and sometimes they escape and sometimes they're running around, but I've never had one come back to like a specific place or like a certain place. So I believe she must feel quite safe here and likes being here, the fact that she came all this way.
Proving practice and following your nose can sometimes get you where you need to go. Mick Favel, CTV News, Regina.
Still ahead, the Yorkton Terriers outshine the Stars in Game 7, advancing to their first SJHL final in 12 years. Well, hockey fans in Yorkton, rejoice. For the first time in 12 years, the Terriers are headed to the SJHL final after beating the Battlefords in 7 games.
Face-off one. Bertha scores!
And just throw it on net. You never know what could happen. Defenseman Gavin Bertha, 2 goals, including the winner with less than 4 minutes to go. Terriers would add 2 empty netters to beat the Battleford 6-3 in front of more than 2,100 fans. And by the way, Bertha, having himself quite a season. He had just 6 goals in the regular season, but in the playoffs, he has 8. That ties him for the lead in goal scoring in the playoffs. The Terriers advance to the Canalta Seeds Cup final against Flin Flon.
To watch him, he'll flip the pass ahead to Arbery, but they just getting a good move across the waiver line. He can move it, scores!
Wyatt Stinston from Flin Flon. He's from Flin Flon. He's a hometown boy. Scored the only goal, which ended up being the winner, of course. Bombers win 1-0 over Weyburn to win the series 4-3. Flin Flon goalie Charlie Tritt stopped all 26 shots for his second shot of the postseason, while Weyburn's Joey Roca, he was really good as well. He made 25 saves, just gave up 1 in that game, and he only gave up 15 goals in the entire series. Flin Flon now, as a result, will host Game 1 of the Canalta Seeds Cup versus Yorkton. It starts early, starts tomorrow night, 6:30 Saskatchewan time. Meanwhile, in the WHL, the East Conference Final is already set. The Prince Albert Raiders will battle the Medicine Hat Tigers, pitting the conference's top 2 seeds against each other. It's pretty much the matchup everyone was hoping for. The Raiders advance by sweeping the Saskatoon Blades. John Flatters has more.
They are a strong group and are definitely a contender to possibly be the WHL representative at the Memorial Cup in Kelowna in late May.
With a 5-3 victory over the Saskatoon Blades in Game 4, the Raiders will advance to the Eastern Conference Final. While their season continues, it was locker room cleanout day in Saskatoon. General Manager Colin Priestner and the coaching staff met with the players before they go home for the off-season, and the tone was positive.
Overall, a big success. Some bumps along the way, I think. There was times where we were all a bit frustrated internally with kind of the consistency of our group, as we talked about lots this year, but I think when it mattered the most, we came to play.
While it stings to lose to your provincial rival, beating Edmonton in Game 7 on the road in overtime gives the Blades something to smile about.
Just a little disappointing. Like, you never want your season to end this early, but I think we're all pretty proud of each other in there for coming through. Like, in that Edmonton series, it was a pretty fun series. We grew a lot closer together as a group, so I think we're pretty proud of each other in there, but still a little disappointing.
For players like Rowan Calvert and Tyler Parr, who have played their last game in a Blades uniform, 5 seasons goes by in a flash.
I didn't know anyone at all when I first got here, but he was kind of the first guy who I really got to know and kind of kept in touch with as I went home that year before I came back. So, yeah, it's just been really special, and it's going to be really different next year, not seeing him every day, but we'll still be in touch, and we'll still be friends.
With so much uncertainty in hockey, now that NCAA eligibility is open to CHL players, time will tell who comes back in August.
Yeah, I'll be back next year as well. I think we kind of have some unfinished business here, and I love this city and I want to win here.
The Prince Albert Raiders have some time before the Round 3 schedule is released, but they know who they'll do battle with, the Medicine Hat Tigers.
We remember from last year, the lessons and the experience that we learned and gained, going through the playoffs, that we've done a tremendous job of applying those lessons and those experiences into this run this year. And again, we're really excited to get things going against them.
The Raiders hope to get revenge for last year's playoff series won by the Tigers. Prince Albert will have home ice advantage. John Flatters, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Still ahead, what the Premier had to say today at a mining industry forum.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at your rural forecast for tomorrow. Some areas still expecting to stay below zero as that low is continuing to make its way into Manitoba. So along the eastern border, we'll see cooler temperatures and still expecting some snow in areas like Hudson Bay, Melfort, and Wynyard, all being below zero for daytime highs. -2 and a mix of sun, or mostly cloudy for Watrous. -1 for Kindersley and Outlook. Kindersley expecting to see some fog in the forecast there. And then Meadow Lake, Lloydminster, Spearwood, all above zero and expecting to start to see that sunshine arrive. As we get closer to the southern border, more sunshine. Temperatures gradually warming up in the southwest. Maple Creek 4 degrees, 2 for East End Cypress, 0 for Leader, and then dropping below zero for other parts here. -3 for Assiniboia, -2 for Rockland, -3 also for Lumsden and Pilot Butte. And Kenora and Broadview still expecting some snow in the day, mostly in the morning into the early afternoon there. -5 is the daytime high and -4 and a mix of sun and cloud for Carlisle. If we take a closer look at Yellowgrass, tomorrow we will still expect to see some sunshine, some snow during the day, mostly again for the morning. -3 is the expected high with a wind chill of -10. As we head into the evening, the temperature will drop to -10 with a wind chill of -17.
Premier Scott Moe was in Saskatoon this morning. He was speaking at Saskatchewan's Mining Supply Chain Forum. His message? That mining is at the center of the province's changing economy, and the government is looking at ways to help the industry flourish. Keenan Sorkon was there and has the details.
And we can have the confidence that what is coming tomorrow is going to be every bit as good as today and likely bigger and brighter.
Premier Scott Moe is confident the investments in Saskatchewan are helping it become a reliable place to do business in a world surrounded in global uncertainty.
We're committed to do our part to ensure that you see continued success in the future, to see Saskatchewan-based companies and Saskatchewan people continue to succeed wherever they live.
Moe spoke to hundreds of attendees at the Saskatchewan Mining Supply Chain Forum Thursday. Central to see Saskatchewan's prosperity remain on track is the province's plans for the grid. With mining projects demanding immense amounts of power, Saskatchewan's electrical system is important for its economic future and what the mining industry expects from the grid.
We need that consistency, and we're pretty much at capacity in Saskatchewan in terms of our current power generating ability.
Denison and NextGen recently received federal approval to proceed with their uranium mines in the Athabasca Basin, and BHP's Jansen Potash mine is expected to begin production next year after roughly $18 billion of spending. Sask Power's plans to spend billions of their own on tying together the northern and southern grids, as well as new transmission lines, will be vital for these companies.
You don't have power, that delays when you're going to be able to start. So absolutely, having enough power is a critical milestone, in the progression of your project.
Moe says gone are the days of growing more wheat to expand the economy, as uranium, potash, and dozens of other specialized resources will weather the storm and provide many opportunities moving forward. Keenan Sorakan, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Another round of layoffs have been announced by Saskatchewan Polytechnic. Jasmine Peltier reports on the latest updates and whether more can be expected in the near future.
30 full-time and part-time workers received layoff notices from Saskatchewan Polytechnic this month, including 18 faculty positions. This follows 23 layoffs announced in February and about 100 layoffs carried out throughout 2025. Saskatchewan Polytechnic says federal immigration policy changes are contributing to the decline in international student enrollment. It provided CTV with a statement saying at Sask Polytech, international student enrollment is down approximately 40%. Creating a substantial revenue shortfall for the 2025-26 academic year. Revenue information cannot be provided at this time. Financial information is disclosed annually through the annual report. A rebound in international enrollment is not expected next academic year. The Minister of Advanced Education says the institution has not indicated further cuts at this time.
They haven't indicated anything more, but I know this month, April, is kind of the month where they make those decisions for the entire year. So, I said, let me know as soon as you know. And that's what happened here with Sask Poly.
The Ministry of Advanced Education provided CTV with a statement saying, in the 2026-27 budget, Saskatchewan Polytechnic is receiving $187 million in operating funding, an increase of 8% from last year. Saskatchewan Polytechnic will continue to receive 3% increases to operating funding each year of the new multi-year funding agreement. Saskatchewan Polytechnic says layoffs are spread across all 4 campus locations, but affected programs and departments are not being disclosed for worker privacy. Jasmine Peltier, CTV News, Prince Albert.
Let's take a look at your farm prices. Canola street price is down $3.30 to $660.33 per ton, while the futures price is up $5.10 to $710.40 per ton. Amber durum wheat stays the same, $278.59 per ton. Red spring wheat's down $2.21 to $284.43 per ton. Feed barley, $250.88 per ton. And flax, no movement there as well. It's $630.54 per ton. Those prices courtesy of Bunge and ICE Futures Canada. Markets going in different directions. The TSX dropped by 103 points, while the Dow Jones went up by 115 points. The dollar up again. It almost hit the 73-cent mark U.S. It went up 0.2 cents to 72.98 cents U.S. On the commodity front, gold up 81 cents. West Texas Intermediate crude up $3.04. While Western Canadian Select crude went up slightly by 7 cents to $70.41 a barrel. And gas in Regina once again has not moved. It's at $1.699 per liter. But remember, on Monday, that federal gas tax gets chopped, so it will drop by then.
Statistics Canada is reporting a big jump in the purchase of zero-emission vehicles for February. New vehicle sales were actually down about 1% that month year over year to just over 124,000. But more than 12,600 of them were zero emission. And that's a 47% increase from February of last year. It coincides with the start of a federal program that gives cash back to Canadians for these purchases. There is a split happening in the Canadian real estate market. Royal LePage says home prices are up over 10% in a mid-market city like Quebec City, but down closer to 5% in big cities like Toronto and Vancouver. The company also says buyers now aim to sell first before buying, a reversal from the last 2 decades. Choice Properties REIT and KingSett Capital are buying First Capital REIT for $9.4 billion, including debt. First Capital owns strip malls anchored by grocery stores, mainly in Ontario and Quebec. Choice Properties is owned by the Weston family of the Loblaws empire. Choice and KingSett will split the properties. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
Four big bangs, I'm thinking?
You knew! Alex.
Bang, 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 bang. Georgia and Mandy's first marriage at 10 o'clock, E-Talk at 10:30, and then you've got your news. Don't forget, Next Level Chef. That's the one where you have different levels and you cook and they choose and the whole thing. You're upset about the Big Bang thing. I don't know what you're talking about. A new exhibit at the Cumberland Gallery in the Legislative Building is shining a spotlight on Saskatchewan's modern-day military stories.
Yeah, the Royal United Services Institute has launched Who Wears the Uniform, an exhibit featuring the stories of 10 Saskatchewan people who have served in the Canadian Armed Forces. Each piece shares experiences ranging from deployments in Afghanistan and Bosnia to fighting wildfires and intercepting drug shipments at sea. The exhibit also spotlights trailblazers, including one of Canada's first female snowbirds pilots, as well as Indigenous service members.
There's a thread that runs through all of these stories, and that is of sacrifice and the willingness to serve. The reasons vary, but in everybody there is a pride in what they do, and all of the reasons for serving Canada are so inspiring.
What I hope for visitors to take away after they see this display is the stories that are told, and to see the people from all the farms, the cities and towns from Saskatchewan that we're from all those towns, and we did serve for this country.
So the exhibit runs until May 15th at the Cumberland Gallery, then moves to the RCMP Heritage Centre from June 1st to September 5th.
When it hopefully doesn't snow.
Yep. And the Prince Albert Raiders caught the attention of the law after last night's win as their team bus was pulled over on the highway.
I've been looking for. I found your fan bus, and now I found you. Yeah. Bring home the cup, boys. Yeah. Go Raiders, go!
Well, a member of the RCMP stopped the bus near Osler, climbed aboard to congratulate the players over their victory against the Saskatoon Blades in the second round of playoffs. Apparently, the officer sharing that she was previously posted to Prince Albert, and as a result of that, was rooting for the Raiders to bring home a win.
Oh, well, that's kind of nice. Wonder if they got scared at first.
Well, I'm pretty sure they know. Maybe they thought, what did our bus driver do? You know, but they knew they didn't do anything wrong.
Well, that's fine.
Unless they did something wrong and they thought they were in trouble, but no, I don't think they did. But we'll see what they do against Medicine Hat. That'll be a good series, right?
Uh-huh.
Sports.
Sport.